Hello everyone, welcome back to our Lunch and Learn session. A very warm welcome to all of you today. My name is Rosnita from Excel Academy. Today we have Miss Adila for Microsoft Excel topic, and in today she will be sharing about identifying trend in Microsoft Excel. If you have any question regarding this topic, do leave your message in the comment section and Miss Adila will answer them right after her presentation. All right, let's not wait anymore. Now I pass this mic to Miss Adila.
All right. Hi, everyone. So firstly, I would like to thank Fan Rosnita for the introduction earlier. And thank you as well to Excel Academy for having me and to all of the audience today for joining the Lunch and Learn session during our lunch break. All right. So for today, we will be covering identifying trend in Microsoft Excel. And mainly in identifying trend, we will be looking at two main functions in Microsoft Excel, which are conditional formatting and also charts and graph. All right. So without waiting any further, let me start off with the first function, which is conditional formatting. All right, so if you can see from in front of your screen right now, I have opened up a file called Conditional Formatting Accountancy Exam. And then up here, you can see the title of Accountancy Part 1 Exam Results. So I hope everyone is in the same page and can see the screen clearly. Okay, so for this particular file, we have four main columns, which are in column A, we have candidate ID, column B, we have area, column C, we have gender, and column D, we have age. And we have some data here up to row 26. And then if you can see in row 28, each of the column, we have certain condition that needs to be met. For an example, in column A, we have to identify candidate ID number less than 300,000. For column B, we need to identify southern candidate. For column C, we need to identify female. And for column D, we need to identify candidate age more than 40 years old. Okay. So for conditional formatting, if any of you never used conditional formatting before or who are not familiar with conditional formatting, you can actually find conditional formatting under the Home tab. All right, so up here you can see there are File tab, Home tab, Insert tab, etc. So conditional formatting can be found under Home tab. And then you can go to Styles ribbon, whereby you can see the first one is conditional formatting, as per what I'm showing in front of the screen right now. If you click on the conditional formatting, there are several rules that you can apply. All right. So in general, conditional formatting would allow you to easily identify any trend or patterns inside your data without filtering or sorting them. All right. You can actually identify the trend. So first we have the highlight cell rule, okay, whereby you can identify any of the condition if you want to search for greater than, less than, between, equal to, and the fifth one, this is important, which is text that contains, because the other rule can be applied to numbers, but if your data is in the form of text or alphabet or sentences, you must use text that contains. Only then Excel would be able to identify the word, the text, and perform the conditional formatting for you. Next, we have a date occurring, duplicate values, and also more rules. So for this particular exercise, we will be covering the function under highlight cell rule. All right. But let me just go through some of the function that we have. The next category is top or bottom rule. So in general, I will describe top or bottom rules into three parts. First, we can identify top or bottom 10 items. So if let's say I own a mini shop or mini mart, all right, I've sold 300 types of goods in my mini mart. So at the end of the month, if I want to identify what are my top 10 or bottom 10 items, I can do this by using conditional formatting. I can easily identify my top 10 or bottom 10 items. So that is the first part. Second part, we can identify top or bottom 10%. And the final part, we can identify above or below average. So let's say if you have your data is in relation to payments, all right? And then if you want to identify any of the individuals who paid above or below the average amount spent or average amount paid, you can actually use the above or below average category under top or bottom rules. Okay, so that is for top or bottom rules. For the next few part, like data bus, color scales, and icon sets, I would categorize these as visual aids or visual management. And I will tell you why later when we enter into our second exercise. Basically, when it comes to visual management, data bus, color scales, and icon set would allow us to easily identify the trend or pattern by one look. So if let's say you want to identify the highest amount or the lowest amount, you can do so by just applying any of these three visual managements available: data bus, color scales, or even icon set. Next, we have new rule. And one of the important part in conditional formatting is clear rule. So sometimes when you apply the conditional formatting, maybe you have put the limit wrongly, all right? Maybe you want to redo your conditional formatting, you no longer want the rules, etc. So you cannot simply highlight the relevant data and click delete. It won't clear the conditional formatting rules, okay? So you need to clear the rules properly by using this item, clear rules, and then you would have two options, which are clear rules from selected cells and clear rules from entire sheet. So from the name itself, you can see that from selected cell is when you highlight certain cell, certain column, all right, and the conditional formatting rule will only be cleared from those selected cell. But let's say you want to clear rules from the entire worksheet, then please do so, no problem. It will delete or clear the rules from your entire sheet. So just be careful when you want to clear rules. If you want to use selected cell, make sure you use selected cell. And if you don't want to clear from selected cell, you want to clear from the entire sheet, then you can just use clear rules from entire sheets. Okay, so that is just basically just a bit of introduction about what are some of the rules or category that is available under conditional formatting. So let's give this a try, all right, for the accountancy exam. So going back to row 28 earlier, for each of the column we have condition attached to it, all right, that we need to identify the trend. So let's try and use conditional formatting to satisfy all of this. To satisfy all of these conditions. All right. So for column A, we want to identify candidate ID number less than 300,000. So before we apply conditional formatting, remember the first step, which is highlight all relevant data. So I'm highlighting cell A4 until A26. Okay. You can go to Home tab, Styles ribbon, go to Conditional Formatting, and then make your way to Highlight Cell Rule. So if we read the condition again, we want to identify less than 300,000. So here, after you go to Highlight Cell Rule, go to less than, all right? This box will appear, and then under here, just input the limit, which is 300,000, all right? And then when you click OK, now we can already identify easily which candidate ID is less than 300,000. So example, we have in row 8 here, row 9, row 11, and also row 19. So there are actually 4 candidate ID which are less than 300,000. So that is for the first one. We have satisfied the condition accordingly. Second, we want to identify southern candidate. So remember, the data in column B is no longer numbers, but it's in the form of text. So if you want to deal with text data, all right, under conditional formatting highlight cell rule, we must use text that contains. Okay. So here, let's continue and begin with the first step all over again. Highlight relevant data. So I'm highlighting cell B4 until B26. Home tab, Styles ribbon, conditional formatting, highlight cell rule. So remember, since the data is in the form of text, I will be using text that contains. So under the box here, input your limit or your condition, which is south in this case, because we want to identify southern candidate. When you click OK, you can see all of those with south, all right, is already been identified and highlighted accordingly by Microsoft Excel. Okay, example here under row 5, row 9, row 10, 13, and 14. Sorry, 19 until 21, and finally under row 26. Okay, so for column B, we have already done the conditional formatting as well. Now, moving on to column C, we want to identify female candidate. So in this data, M represents male, F represents female. So if you want to identify female candidate, we will be using the letter F. So here, column C also involves text, therefore we'll be using text that contains. So here, let's do this first step, which is to highlight relevant data. So here, I'm highlighting cell C4 until C26. Go to Home tab, Styles ribbon, Conditional Formatting, Highlight Cell Rule, Text that contains, and then female candidate is represented by the letter F. So under the limit here, I will be putting the letter F. When you click OK, all of the female candidate has been identified accordingly, as you can see in front of the screen here, that is highlighted in red and also in red font. Okay, so done for column C as well. Now, for the last part, column D, we want to identify candidate age which is greater than or more than 40 years old. Okay, so again, let's continue with the first step, highlight relevant data. So I'm highlighting cell D4 until D26. Go to Home tab, Styles ribbon, Conditional Formatting, highlight cell rule, greater than, and under the limit put the number 40 because you want to identify greater than 40 years old. When you click OK, we can see that those who are aged more than 40 years old is highlighted accordingly. Example here, 42 under row 12, 45 under row 18, and 42 under row 26. Okay, so that is how you can apply conditional formatting, and some of the example that we have used which are greater than, less than, as well as text that contains under this particular file, conditional formatting accountancy exam. All right. So this is for the first part of conditional formatting. Now, let me continue with the second part of conditional formatting, whereby we will be using a bit of top or bottom rules, data bus, and also icon set. Okay, so let me stop share here first, and then let me open the file, the second file for conditional formatting. Alright, so in front of your screen here, we can see there's a file called conditional formatting PESCO part-time pay. So this is a shop called PESCO, alright, and these are the data in relation to their part-time workers that work on a weekly basis. Okay, so how much they earn, how much salary that they've get, how much insurance, tax, pension, and how many hours that they have worked on a weekly basis. Okay, so under column B here, we have the staff ID. Under column C, we have the surname. Under column D, we have the initial. Under column E, we have the number of hours all of these workers work at PESCO on a weekly basis. Column F is the pay that they receive. Insurance in column G, tax in column H, pension in column I, and in column J is their final pay. So if you want to know how final pay is derived, final pay is actually pay in column F, deduct your insurance, minus your tax, and minus your pension. That is how we derive to final pay. Okay, so we have data from column B until column J here. And if we scroll further down, under row 18, again, we have the condition set for each of the column. For column B, we want to identify females. For column C, we want to identify names with letter I. Column D, initial H. Column E, greater than or equal to 18. Column F, top 10%. Column G, above average. Column H, data bus. And column I is actually a mixture of two rules, which are we want to create data bus, and then we want to identify data greater than 4.5. So this is an example whereby we need to apply two rules at the same time. And then finally in column J, we want to apply icon set. Okay, so let me show you, all right, for the first view. For the first one in column B, we want to identify female candidates. So I think this one, all of you know how to do it. the data is in the form of text, okay, and then we want to identify female candidate. Therefore, we will be using text that contains, okay, where female is represented by the letter F. So let's perform conditional formatting in column B. First step, highlight relevant data. So let's highlight cell B4 until B15. Go to Home tab, Styles ribbon, Conditional Formatting. Click on Highlight Cell Rule. Okay, and then go to Text that contains. And then under the limit, put the letter F for females and then you click OK. So from here, we can identify there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 female workers that work part-time at PESCO. Okay. Next, in column C, they want to identify surname, all right, that contain letter I. So again, this involves text and alphabet. Therefore, when we apply conditional formatting, we will be using text that contains, okay? So let's highlight all relevant data as per the first step. Go to Home tab, Conditional Formatting, highlight cell rule, text that contain, under the limit, put the letter I. When you click OK, there are actually 5 surnames with the letter I, which are Arlington, Davies, and also Oliver. Okay. Next, letter H. So again, this is also sample of text that contains. Therefore, highlight relevant data. Go to Home tab, Styles ribbon, Conditional Formatting, highlight cell rule, text that contains and input the letter H. So we have 3 individuals with letter H in row 6, which is Brown, row 12, which is Marsh, and row 15, which is Taylor. Okay. Next, we want to identify greater than or equal to 18. All right. So maybe this one is a little bit tricky, but let me just walk through with you together. So if you go to conditional formatting highlight cell rule, yes, we do have for greater than, we do have rule for equal to. But where can we find the rules which can combine both together, greater than and also equal to? So the answer is you need to go to the bottom part, which are under more rules. Okay. So click on more rules. First, let's just highlight the data first. Sorry about that. So after you highlight the data, go to conditional formatting, highlight cell rule, and at the bottom, we have more rules. So when you arrive at more rules, right, at the center here, currently it's showing greater than, and then they have the drop down arrow. I want you to click on the drop down arrow and then choose greater than or equal to as per the condition required in column E. Okay. When you click on greater than or equal to, next to it on the right hand side, you will see cell B, which is 18. Okay, so under the preview, there are no rules. I'll straight away go to the last step, which is satisfy my condition greater than or equal to 18. We will be colored by red fill. Click OK. Okay, so this is the preview. You can see the background will change to red color for those greater than or equal to 18. So now you can click OK. So here we can see that Excel has already identified greater than or equal to 18. Okay, we have 5 plus 2. So we have in total 7 individuals who work greater than or equal to 18 hours per week. Okay, so that is for column E, whereby we are required to use more rules under this condition. For column F, we want to identify top 10%. So here again, highlight relevant data, go to conditional formatting. Now we will be using top or bottom rules. So under top or bottom rules, just use top 10%. Okay, so now Excel has identified your top 10%. Column F is already been satisfied as well. So for column G, we want to identify above average. So highlight relevant data, conditional formatting, top or bottom rows, above average. Okay. So these are some of the individuals who paid insurance above the average. So that is for column G. Now for column H, right? So we have data bus here. So if you notice under data bus, we have two types, which are gradient fill and solid fill. Now let me show you what are the differences between gradient and solid fill. So if gradient, right, I will apply under column H. If you see gradient, you can see clearly the color has gradient in it, whereby it's from darker color to lighter color. So that is what it means by gradient. If you use solid fill, let me apply under column I. If I use solid fill here, all right, you can see it's darker color all the way through. Okay, so that is the difference between solid fill and also gradient fill. All right, so I hope you can understand the differences for data bus here. Now let me just clear the rules here first. So I highlight cell H4 until I15. Conditional formatting, clear rules from selected cell. All right, so now the rules have been cleared. Okay, so let's perform column H, right? Data bus. So I will highlight the relevant cell H4 until H15, and then I will go to conditional formatting, data bus, and I will apply the solid fill in green color. So from here, you can see the data bars, some are longer than others, some are shorter than others, all right? So what do I mean by visual management is, if let's say I want to identify who paid the highest tax, I can automatically say row 6, which is brown, paid the highest tax. Why? Because the data bus is the longest, okay? And then if I want to identify who paid the least tax, I know it's from row 10, which is Fox, and also row 15, which is Taylor. Why? Because the data bar is the shortest. Okay, so visually, it will help you to identify some simple trend or patterns inside your data. So that is for data bar. Next is a mixture between two rules. First, we want to apply data bar, and second, we want to apply greater than 4.5. Now, one thing to take note is, if let's say you have several rules, okay, so it doesn't matter if let's say in this case, you do data bus first, followed by greater than 4.5, or the second option whereby you do greater than 4.5 here, sorry, you do greater than 4.5 first, followed by data bar. The result will be the same. So don't worry too much about which comes first. You can do either one first, either the data bar or the greater than 4.5. So here in this case, let's just assume we do data bar first. Okay, so highlight relevant data, go to conditional formatting, data bus. I'm applying data bus in red. Okay, and then again, let's apply greater than 4.5. So go back to conditional formatting, highlight cell rule, greater than 4.5, and then you click OK. So for column I, we have already performed the relevant conditional formatting as well. Now to the final column, which is icon set. Okay, let me show you what are some of the icon set that is available under conditional formatting. So we have sample here, directional, you have arrow, you have shapes with 3 colors, traffic light as well, indicators in flags, ratings, we also have in stars, we also have in quarters, etc. Okay, so it's up to you which icon set that you want to use. So let's apply icon set on column J. So highlight relevant data, go to conditional formatting, go to icon set. So here I will be using the 3 traffic light. Okay, so here you can see we have 3 colors, which are red, yellow, and also green. Now let me tell you what do all of this color indicates. Okay, so for green color, it's above your average. For yellow color, it's within the range of your average, and red color is below your average. So that is what the indicator tells us when we use icon set. Okay, so basically that's it about conditional formatting. All right, so I hope what I'm showing you and the exercises that we go through would actually help you to understand what is conditional formatting all about, and also how can we use conditional formatting to identify simple trend and also patterns inside our data in Microsoft Excel. Okay, so that's it for conditional formatting. Now let's move on to the second one, which is charts and graph. So let me stop share here first and let me open the file for charts and graph. Alright, so in front of the screen here, you can see there's data about car sales by gender. Okay, so in column A, we have the variables here, which is the different types of car, such as Fiat, Ford, BMW, Mercedes, Vauxhall, and also Nissan. And in column B, we have the percentage for men, and in column C, the percentage for women. Now, for charts and graph, for basic, I would like to share with you 4 basic charts and graph, which is commonly used, okay, in presentation. So we have the first one, pie, we have column, we have bar, and also we have line. Okay, so these are the 4 main ones that I will be showing for today. So we have pie chart, column chart, bar chart, and also line graph. So column chart and bar chart is actually the same. It's just that column chart, it will be showing in vertical form, and bar chart is in horizontal form. Those are the differences. Okay, so let's start off with performing pie chart first. So to perform charts and graph, you need to have the data in numbers and also the variables. So in this case, we have the variables under column A from cell A4 until A9, and the data we have under cell B4 until B9. Okay, so let's first highlight our variables and also our data. So I will highlight cell A4 until B9. Okay, where can you find charts and graph? Make your way to insert tab. Okay, and then at the middle here, you can see there's charts ribbon. Click on recommended charts. Okay, so you have 2 options here, recommended charts and also all charts. So under recommended charts are those charts that are recommended by Microsoft Excel, and then all charts will contain all of the charts that are available under Excel. So I will be using all charts. All right. So first, let's do pie. So we go to pie, and then here you can choose different types of pie chart. All right. We have the 2D here, and the next one we have 3D. So to make it nicer, I will be using the 3D pie. Click on 3D pie and then press OK. So this is how your pie chart looks like. Okay, inside pie chart, there are 3 main components that I want you to focus on. First is always update your chart title. Okay, you can start off by writing what type of chart this is. So I will put here pie chart, and then this chart represent what data. So I would put here pie chart for car sales by men, for an example. So I have the types of chart at the front here, and I also have the data is about what? Okay, it's showing car sales by men. So that is the first part under pie chart. Always update the chart title accordingly. Second, if you go to the bottom, you can see there are indicators here. For an example, dark blue is for Fiat, red is for Ford, light green is for BMW, and so on. So the indicators here are actually referring to as legend. So under Excel, it is called as legend, Legend, okay, legend. And the third part, fine, we have the title, we have the indicator, but how can we see the labeling on our charts and graph? How can we know the red color here represent how many percent? The green color here represent how many percent? Okay, so to add data labels, you right click on your mouse. Okay, click on the pie chart here, and then choose add data labels. So now we can see there's label on the data on the pie chart here. Example, red color Ford is 38%, green color BMW is 21%, purple color Mercedes is 6% and so on. Okay, so that is for the first part. For pie chart, remember title, legend, and also data labels. So let me make this smaller, alright, and then we can move on to the next one, which is column chart. So again, highlight the relevant data, variables and data, which is cell A4 until B9. Go to insert tab, recommended charts. Okay, you can go to all chart and then column. So first we have the column, simple column chart here. Or you can use the colored one as well. So maybe we can use the colored one. Alright. So again, first is update your chart title. So here I will put as column chart for car sales by men. Alright. Second, at the bottom here, you can see there's legend as well. Okay. And then if you want to add data label, you can actually right click, add data label. Add data label. Add data label and so on. So you can see why do we have to insert data labels individually. That's because each of the coloring is different. Alright, if you choose all of it the same color, then you only need to add data label once. Okay. So that is for add data labels. And finally, if you can see at the back here, we have some horizontal line, a blurry horizontal line. So if you want to make your charts appear cleaner and nicer, you can actually opt to delete the horizontal line at the back. To delete the line, just click on the line until you can see there's blue dots at the side here. Alright, and then just click delete on your keyboard. So that is how you can get rid of the blurry lines at the back to make the chart looks cleaner and nicer. Okay, so this is for column chart. So remember title, legend, add data labels, and also the blurry lines at the back for your column chart. So this is the second types of basic graph. The third one, we will be covering bar chart. So again, highlight relevant data, cell A4 until B9, insert tab, recommended chart, all charts. Okay, go to bar and then choose bar chart. If you can see here, column and bar is actually the same. It's just that the positioning, column graph is vertically, and for bar chart, it's in horizontal form. So in horizontal. So again, first update the chart title. So bar chart for car sales by men. Second, we would right click, add data labels. Okay, you have the data labels there. And then finally, let's delete the vertical line at the back here. So click on the line until you can see the blue dots at the end of it. And then click delete. Alright, so this is how your bar chart looks like. So this is basic charts and graph number 3. And the final one, we want to create line graph. Okay, so again, highlight relevant data, cell A4 until B9, insert tab, recommended charts, all charts, go to line, and then just use line chart here or line graph. Click OK. So this is how your line graph looks like. So again, the first is to update the title. So line graph for car sales by men. And then we would also right click on the line graph, add data labels. So at least when you present, you already know what dip, okay, all of this point is at how many percent. And then finally, if you want to delete the horizontal line at the back, just click on the line until you can see the blue dots at the end of it, and then just click delete. Okay, so this is how your line graph looks like for this particular file. So these are all of the 4 basic and commonly used charts and graph that I wanted to cover with all of you, whereby we have our pie chart, column chart, bar chart, and also line graph. Okay, so I hope it's clear what are the basic charts and graph available and how do we perform the charts and graph inside our Microsoft Excel. Okay. So for the final part before our Q&A session, I would like to share with you again in the terms of charts and graph, but how do we perform charts and graph to show our actual versus target? All right, so let me show to you the file. Let me share my screen again. Actual versus target. Okay. All right. So sometimes we've encountered whereby, be it in your KPI performances, sometimes you have your sales target, etc. All right. And then you want to show your actual and your target, okay, in the form of charts and graph. So here I would like to share with you two forms of charts and graph that is available for you to show your actual versus target data. All right. So for the first one, let me zoom in. Okay. On the left side, okay, on the left side here, we have in the form of this, whereby we would have the actual within the target. So from here, you can easily identify, all right, what is your actual and what is your target, and is your actual already exceed or does not reach yet your target. Okay, so this is in the form of column graph, the first example. Second example is we have markers. So if you can see in the orange color here, we have the markers here. So the blue color represents actual, the orange color represents target. So from here, you can also see whether your performance or your data, your sales, your revenue, etc., have reached your target or not. Okay, so let's go through these two forms for actual versus target data. If you can see from column A, B, and C, I have put up a simple data here, whereby in column A, we have quarter one, quarter two, quarter three, and also quarter four. Under column B, we have the actual. Under column C, we have the target. All right, so let's try and perform the actual versus target for the left one first, whereby the actual is within the targeted column. Okay, so I have listed down the step by step here. Okay, so you can see first we would create stack column. Second, we would right click on the actual, okay, go to format data series and choose secondary axis. And then the final one for the target column, all right click on the target on the orange color, choose format data series, and the gap width, change it to 100. All right, so let's give this a try and apply all of the step by step that I have listed down here. So first, highlight relevant data under column A, B, and also C. Go to Insert tab, Recommended Charts, and then All Charts. So the first step is we need to choose Stack Column, right? So let's choose Stack Column. Okay. So Insert tab, Recommended Chart, All Chart. We have column, and then the second one, if you can see here, we have Stack Column. Okay, choose Stack Column. So this is how stack column looks like. All right. So the target is on top of the actual. So this is how the first part looks like. Second, what does the instruction say? Okay. They say for actual, okay, go to format data series and choose secondary axis. So actual is in blue color. All right. So right click on the blue color, go to format data series. And if you can see on the right side here, you can see now it's currently at primary axis. Change it to secondary axis. So when you choose secondary axis, your charts and graph also change a little bit. Okay, now it appears this way. And then the third and final step is right click on target, okay, refer to number 3, choose format data series, and then choose gap width 100. So target is in orange color, right click on the orange color, go to format data series, and then down here at the bottom part we have the gap width, change it to 100. So just type 100 and then just click enter. Okay, so now you can see the actual is already inside the target. So after you are done, you can make the charts bigger, and this is how your charts and graph for actual versus target looks like. So don't forget to update the chart title here. to the relevant title, and you may also add data labels if you want. Example here, okay? And then you may also delete the horizontal line at the back to make your graph looks cleaner. Okay, so this is for the first part, the first example. Now let's move on to the right side, which is the actual versus target with markers here. Okay, so the step by step is step 1, we use clustered column. Step 2, 3 and 4 actually applies to the target only. So maybe let me just put this in target. Okay, 3 also refers to the instruction for target in orange color, and number 4 also refers to target. So first choose clustered column. Second, right click on target orange color. Choose change series chart type. Okay, go to combo, go to target, and under chart type, choose line with markers. So that is for the second step. For the third step, again for target, right click on target, go to format data series, choose line, and then choose no line. And finally, again, right click on the target on the orange color, choose format data series, go to marker, and then marker options, and then choose built in. Okay, so let's try and perform all these 4 instructions accordingly. So first, let's highlight relevant data here. Okay, column A, B, and C, and then click on insert tab, recommended chart, okay, all charts, and then first we want clustered column, right? So choose column and then choose the first one, clustered column. So when you do number 1, this is how it looks like. Clustered column, the actual and target is actually side by side. Okay, so that is for step number 1. Now step number 2, let's see. Right click on target, change series chart type, combo, target, chart type, choose line with markers. So let's follow the instruction accordingly. So right click on target, the orange color, choose change series chart type. Okay, go to combo. Under target, the chart type here, from clustered column, change it to line with markers. Okay, and then click OK. So when you apply step number 2, this is how your chart will look like. Okay, it will look like this when you're done with step number 2. Step number 3, it's mentioned here for target. Again, right click on target, go to format data series, line, and then no line. So right click on the orange color, go to format data series. So here, how can we go to line? Go to the most left icon, all right, which you can see there's like a bucket of paint there showing fill and line. So click there, go to line here, and then click no line. All right, so that is for step number 3. Okay, it's already no line. Let me just double check. Okay, no line. And then again for step number 4, go to target again. All right, so right click on target, choose format data series. Okay, go to marker. So marker is also under fill and line here, under the bucket of paint here on the left side, most left. Beside line, you can see the word marker. So click on marker. And then you can see the word marker options. You click on marker options and then choose built in. Okay. And then for the type, you can choose whichever marker you want. Okay, you want triangle, diamond, square, etc. But now I'm using the basic horizontal line here. Okay, and then I retain the size at size 5. If you want your marker to be bigger, you can make it bigger as well. Okay, it's up to you. So this is how the charts looks like when it comes to actual versus target graph and charts with markers. Okay, so I've shown you 2 example of charts and graph to show your actual versus target. All right, and then you can refer to the step by step here accordingly under the charts and graph that I have shown earlier. All right, so I hope the charts and graph that I've shared would be something useful that you may use in your work, perhaps when you want to show any sorts of data with actual data versus targeted data. All right. So that's it from me for identifying trend in Microsoft Excel by using conditional formatting and also charts and graph. Thank you so much, and I hope all of you enjoy this session.
All right. Hang on, yeah. Let's wait if there is any question. No question. Okay. So I guess that's all for today. Thank you, Adila, for a great presentation. Okay, and thank you everyone for joining our lunch and learn session for today. And don't forget to follow our social media for more information about what are the courses we offer. Okay, so till then, that's all. Bye bye.
All right. Thank you so much, everyone, for attending the
Yeah.
session. We will see you next time. Thank you.
Okay. All right. Bye.